The Neue Schule Turtle Tactio Nelson.
Hi everybody, this is the Turtle Tactio, and the Turtle Tactio is second in the Turtle Neue Schule collection. The turtle top was actually the first, and again this was developed through research done by the Neue Schule Academy, and it's based on the working angle, and there is a full video on the working angle, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. However, briefly, what we've done is, in order to optimize on comfort and to ensure that the bit is flat between the tongue and the palate, we've reconfigured the bore axis. So in essence, what we've done is we've sent the bore hole through at a different angle, so the bit will actually remain like this on the floor of the mouth. The Turtle Tactio is actually a very clever design. It's an oval profile, and this means that we have more weight bearing surface down onto the tongue, and this gives us much lower pressure. We also have a much smaller lozenge in the centre, and again this can be very beneficial if you have a horse with narrow bars, and you can check this out for yourself. All you need to do is actually lift the tongue. The other benefit is the way it operates within the mouth, because it closes around the tongue, not dissimilar to how you would wrap your legs around the horse. And we do find that this really does help with directional control. The working angle of the Tactio is such that it actually doesn't rotate forwards, it remains much further back in the mouth. And this is very beneficial if you have a horse with a short smile. Now, by short smile, I mean short from the muzzle to the corner of the lip. It also proves extremely helpful if we have a horse with tongue evasions. For instance, if the horse is inclined to either draw the tongue back or even slip the tongue out to the side. We find that very often it will completely eradicate that little evasion. And again, if we just have a horse with an overactive, with a busy mouth, it can be very, very beneficial. The other thing that I find, and other riders do tell me, is the fact that they don't need to over tighten the cheek pieces. You know, we've all done it. If we have a horse with a very busy mouth, we'll automatically try and lift that bit further back in the mouth. And of course, when we do that, we actually put pressure not just over the pollen, you know, the TMJ and, you know, the corner of the lip. Now, once we've got that added pressure in the corner of the lip, we've actually masked our rein aids, and, you know, we're all working toward a softer, more refined aid and a subtle little half halt, and the horse actually isn't going to feel it. So we often have, you know, huge benefits from the Tactio. I'm very briefly going to answer a frequently asked question, which is, what is the difference between the Turtle Tactio and the turtle top? But please bear in mind there is a full video going into much more detail. So in essence, the difference being the turtle top actually has a very uniform weight bearing surface down onto the floor of the mouth, whereas the Tactio utilizes the center of the tongue in order to reduce the pressure between the bars. And we often find if we have a horse that is very sensitive, it's stemming actually from the bar area. So we have a huge weight bearing surface, but we actually haven't got the bulk between the bars with the Tactio. So there we have it, the main difference. This is a very clever design, and it is patented. It's unique to the Neue Schule brand. You won't actually find it anywhere else. And again, through rider demand, initially we introduced the Tactio with a loose ring, but now we have it on a variety of fixed cheeks, dressage legal cheeks, and also a huge selection of cheeks for faster work. Here we have the Nelson running gag, and we would have one cheek piece that travels down through both of these rings, and we would attach one rein. Alternatively, we can use the ordinary snaffle ring, I recommend that we ride with 2 reins, because then we can come off the gag rein, we can go onto the snaffle rein, and we can reward the horse instantly for responding. However, you know, many riders do ride successfully purely with the gag rein because they find 2 reins is, you know, too much knitting cross country. It is a particularly useful bit cross country where we're approaching skinnies and we have to be extremely accurate at speed, because we do have the full cheek, and this is extremely beneficial. So for making those tight turns show jumping as well, you know, when we need to sit the horse back and make those tight turns, again, this is often favoured by the show jumpers. So for overall speed control, it's a brilliant piece of kit. Bear in mind that we do have what we call a +3. So 30% of the force we put through the rein is going to travel up through the cheekpiece and actually over the poll. But it's also going to tighten up in the corner of the mouth as well. So I call this amplifying the rein aid. So if we have a very strong horse and we're just not strong enough to hold it, maybe it's on the hunting field, then again it would be a go-to design. Now when we combine it with the Tactio mouthpiece, if we do have a horse that has a very useful little evasion where they'll draw the tongue back and they'll push down actually on the mouthpiece in order to gain momentum, we do tend to find that 9 times out of 10, you know, it will solve that issue. By the same token, if we have a horse that has very narrow bars, we have this much smaller lozenge in the centre of the mouthpiece. So if we lift up the horse's tongue and we have those really narrow bars, it proves much more comfortable than a mouthpiece with a larger lozenge in the centre. And again, if we have a horse with a humongously big tongue, we part the lips and it's kind of, you know, spilling out to meet us, then, you know, bear in mind we're using the centre of the tongue with the Tactio and we're alleviating the pressure over the more sensitive outer edges of the tongue and the bars. So yes, we want the speed control, but we want the horse to be comfortable. So there we have it, the Nelson Tactio running gag.